Ever feel like your WordPress site is moving in slow motion? Switch to Kinsta's managed hosting for WordPress and watch it fly. Host your site on Google Cloud's fastest servers with worldwide data centers so your pages load instantly. Need help? WordPress experts respond in under 2 minutes and will migrate to your site for free. Try it yourself. First month free at Kinsta.com. That's Kinsta.com. Kinsta. Simply better hosting.
Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Josh All here doing this week's Dog Pack Discord live show a little bit earlier than the 3 o'clock normally scheduled time, like I was telling everybody in here before we got started. I'm on daddy duty today, babysitting the 9-month-old, and he went down for a nap, and I said, you know what? If I don't take advantage of this period right now to do the show, I don't know if I'm going to get another one because he might not sleep again until we go to bed tonight. And you guys all know if you've got little kids or babies, that's just kind of how it rolls. You are at the mercy of their schedule. So we're going to let the audience fill up here. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever, especially you guys here in Discord, you got my side camera today. For some reason, it's not picking up my iPhone camera. I have no idea why. So you get to see all my messy crap in the background here. I'm not going to be in this office much longer. Thankfully, we're building a new house, so I'll be moving and I'll get a nice new room, and it won't be /storage space either. But we're going to dive into the upcoming matchup this weekend with the Browns and the Dolphins. Before I do, make sure you guys, if you want to be part of these Dog Pack Discord live shows in the future, head to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page. It's just $5 a month to sign up over there. And you get access to the private Discord where everybody is, the entire Dog Pack, all of these awesome diehard Browns fans that we are in here all week long, 24/7, talking about the Browns and basically whatever else. It's a 24/7 therapy session is what it kind of turned into, unfortunately, due to the state of the team. But it's an awesome place to be, and you can take part in these Dog Pack Discord episodes each week. And I would like to continue doing these, not just during the season. Obviously, we use this opportunity for the preview show to do the Discord live, but I'd like to do at least one of these a week if I can, which I should be able to, moving forward through the off season. So that way we can get you guys up here to talk about the draft and the prospects and free agency and all that stuff, all off season long. So head to jointhedogs.com. Okay. So I don't think we really have too many news and notes and things to discuss. The first thing I wanted to do, and I ran a check with you guys beforehand, I want to play a voicemail. Got a voicemail today from Chief Hill, so I just wanted to talk about what he had to say here.
Yeah, this is Chief from Dover. Look, I'm just calling about the glorified goat rope we got going on up in Cleveland. I've been a fan for the Browns for like 62 years, but why even more? It's not even fun. Sports is supposed to be fun. This isn't fun. We got these Ivy League front office, supposed to be the smartest guys in the road. They're the dumbest guys there, and we got the worst team in football yet again. You got AB, who in 6 drafts, he's drafted 1 Pro Bowler, and that guy's not playing this year. The roster gets worse every year. We got Stefanski, he's got a 41-48 record, not even a 500, and the roster gets worse. But, when you got a pre-snap penalties and poor time management, clock management, this guy can't coach. He's like some milquetoast librarian. And then Deep Podesta, he's had some sex with baseball, but baseball's all about analytics. Football's not. I don't know. The only reason I think he's still got his job is maybe he's got compromising pics of D and Jimmy Haslam, or even worse, Jimmy Haslam is dumber than a box of rocks because this Tennessee hillbilly, under his ownership, there's only been 2 winning seasons. This is horrible. What Jimmy Haslam needs to do is fire everybody, go buy a pickup truck, fill it back up with bags and bags of cash, and drive it over to John Gruden's house and get him. Thank God we got the Buckeyes.
All right, Chief. Appreciate the voicemail. I think, you speak for a lot of Browns fans, and I'm sure if you guys agree or disagree with anything Chief says, start putting in the chat or get your hands up if you want to come up here and talk about anything that he said. I did an episode a couple days ago on Tuesday talking about, the Paul D. Podesta and this Ivy League brain trust in the Browns organization right now. And I'm not the only one talking about it. We're not the only people bringing this topic up here on the show. It's kind of going all over social media right now this week about Paul D. Podesta has resurfaced. A lot of people saying, what does he even do? And then there's, people still trying to defend this regime and everything, saying, well, what's so wrong with having an Ivy League education? Like, it's, Harvard is a hard school to get into. Like, you got to be very smart to graduate from these places and all this stuff. And my pushback a lot of times on that is, I'm not saying that an Ivy League education is bad. I'm saying that the people running our organization aren't doing a good job. So the Ivy League education is not helping them create a good football team in our situation. So you guys let me know what you think. We got Truth wants to come on up here. Brad, let's see. Okay, there we go. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, just doing wonderful. Just doing some laundry.
Cool.
How it is.
Good stuff.
Yeah, such fun. So you know me. I pretty much, since I've been a part of, the Dogs podcast, I've called out Paul T. Podesta since the very beginning. I think I shared it in there. I think it probably disappeared after the David Bell announcement. But basically, the team we have now, statistically, is the same team that Paul T. Podesta got when he got here. So, and I said something, I think me and Blake were going a little back and forth on it. But when John Dorsey was here, he had to work with trash, and he brought in like people like Baker, Nick Chubb, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett. Was Sashi Brown hire, or was that Sashi Brown right before Dorsey?
It was 2017, so that would have been D. Podesta was hired in 16.
Okay, well, I don't know.
But I think it was Sashi because it was not.
Sashi drafted Miles.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
But regardless, and John Dorsey brought in Jack Conklin and Austin Hooper and
Odell, Jarvis, if you didn't already say those.
Jarvis, all these people. And we got to somewhere. The mistake John Dorsey he was battling with Jimmy Haslam and the whole Freddie Kitchens hire. Obviously, that's a bad one. But to me, it's like, he's all about the statistics and analytics and everything. Well, I haven't seen, minus maybe Amari Cooper trade, that we've had a really analytic side to the offense since basically letting go of Baker to get Deshaun Watson. I haven't seen really a whole lot of want to get the offensive line younger, get more wide receiver talent. Jerome Ford was supposed to be the next coming, but we all kind of saw the writing on the wall with that one. And now we're having to grab for two running backs because Nick Chubb left. And now we're going to be on this, I would say, 2 to 3 year rebuild of, we need this offensive piece. We need a whole line. We need this. We need that. And it's just going to be, I forgot what analyst said. It said, try not to draft for need, draft for depth. Well, we need everything. So
yeah.
I don't know where the depth comes in there when you need everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know everybody's hopeful that like maybe Dylan or Shador might start to look good. That we don't have to reach for a quarterback again, but I don't know, man. We'll see. But I haven't seen Paul really do anything for this team. And I don't know if Paul's holding Andrew Berry back or if Andrew Berry's holding Paul, but I don't know what that, we never see it because Paul's never around because he's in San Diego all the time.
So my theory on the whole thing, and I kind of talked about this on Tuesday on that episode, if you watched that, but just kind of the recap of that, my theory is Paul DePodesta is trying to implement or devise a Moneyball strategy like he did for baseball with the Oakland Athletics, and he's trying to figure out how to do that in football with the Browns. And, essentially Jimmy Haslam's letting him use the Browns as his experimental, guinea pig lab rat here for this theory, this strategy, this Moneyball strategy in football. And the struggle for DePodesta has most likely been getting a GM and head coach in here who will buy into that strategy and follow along. And since AB and Kevin have been here so long, and there was a quote, I forget what it was, about how Kevin Stefanski fits what Paul DePodesta wants to do, and he fits into this whole thing. I think these guys are all trying to make this work. I think they're trying to, you see the way that they're handling the cap. I guess I can go back. If you guys didn't watch that one, I'll just talk real quick a little bit about these Moneyball core principles. Those were the main things I want to talk about in that episode. Number one was data over instinct, replacing traditional scouting methods and gut feelings. We talk about that all the time. It's like, why are we not scouting well? Why are we not just picking guys or going after guys that we watch the tape and say, this guy can play football? Well, data over instinct, replacing traditional scouting methods and gut feelings with advanced statistical analysis and quantitative data. I think that's what they're trying to do. Identifying undervalued assets, focusing on metrics that are not widely considered but have a significant correlation with desired outcomes, and then strategic decision-making, using data to pinpoint areas of strength and weakness, allowing for more efficient allocation of resources and building a stronger team. To me, that speaks to why they were all on board and okay with allocating so many heavy resources to Deshaun Watson, because we can identify undervalued assets in other areas. We can build a roster capable of achieving the same thing with lesser pieces, lesser priced pieces, because we were able to pay all this money and allocate so much cap to Deshaun Watson. The difference is, to me, this stuff doesn't work in football. It doesn't work in football the way it works in baseball. Analytics is obviously important. It's not like we're saying don't use analytics. Analytics are important, but they should not be the main driver of every decision. You need to use them to help aid your decision making, to help maybe be a tiebreaker between a couple players that you're deciding between, but it should not be the driving force behind everything that you do. And I think they're just too deep into it, too deep into the analytics and all this stuff. But anything else about Chiefs voicemail or anything like that? Anything you guys want to talk about before we dive into the preview here? Brad did mention about David Bell. Yes, that was the piece of news this last couple of days that we didn't cover on the show. David Bell, the wide receiver for the Browns, did announce his retirement, and a lot of people online were like, who's David Bell? Or I forgot he was even on the team. I saw a lot of those responses. I mean, he didn't really play a whole lot for the Browns, never really made much of an impact on the field. He was the 99th overall pick in the third round back in 2022. Out of Purdue, had a great college career. We were excited when we got this guy. Thought, okay, he's not the biggest, fastest, strongest guy, but he's a great receiver. He dominated in the Big Ten, a major conference, all that stuff. Just never really developed into anything on the Browns. So is that an Andrew Berry miss as far as talent evaluation? Is it a coaching staff blunder where we can't develop any of these guys? I don't know. But either way, never worked out. He had a dislocated hip in week 2 last year, missed all of the 2024 season after that. Started this year on NFI, the non-football injury list. And then he released a statement saying that, he was blindsided by an off-field injury. So I don't know if it was something through his recovery or something else that developed after it or what the case was. But his words were, quote, he would literally be risking life and limb if he continued to play football. So obviously David Bell's health is the most important thing. We want him to be healthy. You got the rest of your life to live, dude. I mean, playing football for the Cleveland Browns should not take priority over your long-term health when you're 24 years old. And it's hard to believe, but he's on the last year of his rookie deal and he's only 24 years old. Kenny Mack says, thought he was going to be a Jarvis Landry type player. Yeah, man. I mean, I thought he was going to be a reliable option, for this wide receiving core. we never really thought he was going to be like a wide receiver 1 type guy, but, a guy that you could put out there and rely on to get you 2-3, catches a game and move the sticks and maybe pop off for, a 7-8 catch game here and there and be that kind of guy. He just never was, unfortunately.
Between client meetings, managing your business, and everyday tasks, who has time to worry about website hosting? With Kinsta's managed WordPress hosting, you don't have to. They handle the technical stuff, delivering lightning-fast load times, enterprise-grade security, and 24/7 365 human-only support. Simply switching to Kinsta could make your site up to 200% faster. Kinsta's custom dashboard makes managing sites easy, with powerful features designed to save you time and effort. Plus, their free expert-led migrations ensure a smooth transition. Ready to see why Kinsta is trusted by thousands of businesses? Get your first month free at kinsta.com. That's KINSTA.com. Kinsta. Simply better hosting.
If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This episode is sponsored by Butcher Box for Pets. Browns fans, we love our fellow dogs, our Dog Pack members, and the Dog Pound faithful, but let's not kid ourselves. The most important dogs in our lives are, well, our dogs. Your furry friends aren't just pets, they're part of the family. But the question is, what are you actually feeding them? Head to butcherbox4pets.com/products to see all the options for your dogs, including fresh and dry foods, treats, meal toppers, and even toys for your dog. If you're not sure what your dog will like best, try the Premium Nutrition Adult Starter Pack, and they even have a vacation bundle to take care of your four-legged friends while you're on vacation this summer. And right now you can get 20% off your order with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. At ButcherBox, they believe in real ingredients. Their pet foods have been developed and certified by vet nutritionists to contain zero artificial flavors or preservatives. You get protein-packed formula with over 50% of the recipe comprised of third-party certified humane ButcherBox meat, plus functional ingredients like pre- and postbiotics to support your dog's vitality and digestion. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line is your dogs are getting the nutrition and the value they need, and honestly, that they deserve. I know our home wouldn't be the same without Odie, our 100-pound golden retriever who thinks he's a 10-pound lap dog. He is not, but it gives us peace of mind knowing that we're giving him quality food instead of just that factory processed garbage from the store. And speaking of the store, no need to go. ButcherBox for Pets delivers their high-quality food right to your door. So head to butcherboxforpets.com/products and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 20% off your order. It's time for us dogs to give our dogs the nutrition they deserve. If you guys are ready, we'll move into the Dolphin tier. So we've got the 1-5 Dolphins coming into Cleveland to face our beloved 1-5 Browns. And the Browns are actually 2.5-point favorites in this one. It's yet another sub 40-point total with an over-under at 39.5, and Miami is plus 125 to win the game. It's also another alpha dog game, so the Browns are going to be dude white from head to toe in their brown. And the last alpha dog game, if you guys remember, was the last time we played at home, and it was the only game we won against the Packers. So that's pretty, I don't know, I guess that's a good feather in the cap for maybe we can win on Sunday. The weather, at least right now, I know I saw you guys posting this in the Discord too today. Looks like it's going to be kind of nasty. 100% chance of rain on Sunday. So Justin, if when you get up there, make sure you just, I don't know, buddy, try to do everything you can to stay dry. 20 to 30 mile per hour winds with 36 mile per hour wind gusts. Maybe gusts could reach up to 50 or 60 miles per hour. So it's going to be a sloppy game from the weather. So what would the natural game plan be in this kind of situation, right? Run, Quinshon Judkins, which means that we'll probably, get 40 to 50 pass attempts from Dylan in the rain. So some notes about this game. I posted these yesterday. In 2024, so last season, the Browns only held one opponent to under 20 points at home. It was the Steelers, and They scored 19 points in that Snow Bowl on the Thursday night game. In 2 home games this season so far, neither opponent has scored over 20 points. The Bengals hit 17. The Packers only scored 10. So the Dolphins came into Cleveland late last season in a bad weather game, and they won that game 20-3 with Snoop Huntley at quarterback for Miami and DTR at quarterback for the Browns. And so far this season, Miami is 1-5, like I said, but they have scored over 20 points in 5 of their 6 games. And they scored 27 in 3 of them. Miami on defense has also surrendered over 20 points to every opponent so far this season. And the Browns have not scored 20 points in their last 11 games. And they have only reached that mark, 20 points or more, in 3 of their last 25 games. So, will either team reach 20 points in this game? I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting this final score to look similar to Green Bay, which was that 13-10 game that actually went in our favor. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I got some stats to go through and all that kind of stuff. Like usual, Kenny says the Browns needed to stop Warren, Metcalf, and Freiermuth and didn't. Looks much of the same. Stop Achane, Waddle, and Waller. That's a great point. And the thing with Devon Achane, the running back for the Dolphins, that concerns me is this defense struggles or has shown weakness against these smaller, shiftier, fast running backs. And that's exactly what Devon Achane is. It's similar to like what you saw with Jahmyr Gibbs when we played the Lions. We just could not handle those small, shifty, speedy type of players. Let's see. Andrew Jackson says that's still too high on the points. Yeah, what was it? 39.5. I know, man. I think it's going to be like a 10-6 or, a 13-9 type thing where we're not even going to sniff that anywhere close to that 40-point total. Judkins, Sampson, and Rocket all day. I don't even know if Raheem Sanders will be active. I'm sure he won't be. It's going to be Judkins, Sampson, and Jerome Ford like normal, and you'll see Raheem Sanders just on the inactive list for the game. Jackson says Devon Achane will have 260 yards on us. I'm assuming, well, he says I'm assuming you mean Achane, but same kind of thing with like Waddle. Waddle's a smaller, faster, kind of shifty receiver. And then Darren Waller, I know we're going to struggle, I think, with Darren Waller in this passing game for the Dolphins. Even in the rain, the thing with the Dolphins, and they've transitioned to this during the season last year after Tua suffered his concussion. They don't throw the ball downfield very often. They don't run plays in the passing game that take a while to develop. It is all get the ball out of Tua's hands as quickly as possible. And that's the game plan for the Browns defense. They're going to bring pressure. They're going to get after the quarterback real quick. So you get the ball out as fast as you can. And it's like they don't even have to shift their game plan to counter what the Browns do well on defense. It's just what they do on offense. They are trying to make sure that Tua does not take any hits or anything like that, and it is just quick passes. So Darren Waller definitely going to be heavily involved in those short passes. Achane is going to be a recipient of a lot of short passes on offense. Kenny says they need battling Rams for this game. Activate the Rocket. I would love to see Raheem Sanders active and on the field more, but they're not going to play him over Jerome Ford. They like Jerome Ford. Stacy says we could really use that dome stadium right about now. Hey, I just seen the comments already. People are like, this is football weather for this game and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Again, we talked about how the football weather does not play any sort of home field advantage for the Browns. Otherwise, we would have won a ton more games over the last 30 years than what we have. It is not a home field advantage. If anything, you got your down south Miami team going to come up here, and they did it last year. They came up here and beat us in a bad wet weather game. So Stacey says I'll be there with no umbrella because it's not allowed. Poncho, it is. Yep, it is going to be a wet one for sure. All right, so real quick, obviously we don't have the injury reports for today because I'm doing this earlier on Thursday than normal, but DNPs on Wednesday. Yesterday, Jack Conklin did not practice with his concussion. David Njoku with the knee, and Gage Larvidan with his own concussion. Again, I don't know how every pass catcher on this team is not dealing with a concussion this week after all the hospital balls that Dillon threw during that game against the Steelers, but those guys did not practice, and I think Kevin said they're kind of officially, unofficially questionable for Sunday. So that's Conklin and Njoku and Larvidan. Larvidan, whatever, he's practice squad call-up. I'm not going to call him a major missing piece to this offense since we don't really have any major pieces to begin with. David Njoku would be a big deal if he doesn't play. That would be a big deal. And Jack Conklin too, because if Conklin's not out there, that means you're rolling out KT Leviston and Cam Robinson, and Cam Robinson is dealing with his own knee injury that had him limited at practice yesterday. Haven't heard if he's trending either way or not, but if for some reason Cam Robinson can't play or he does and goes down in the game, Cornelius Lucas, I guess, who's been a healthy scratch ever since he sucked so bad against, who was it, the Vikings? I can't remember which team. It was either the Vikings or the Lions, but rough on the offensive line. Stefanski was asked about Mike Hall Jr. If you guys saw this, same exact answer that he has given pretty much every week so far this year. He said he's getting closer, which to me means don't expect Mike Hall to play yet again this week. Andrew Jackson says our whole team is very questionable. Yeah, I'll give you that. And maybe Zinter will be a scratch. Zach Zinter has been I keep saying this every episode, a healthy scratch. How bad do you have to be that you can't even be active as an offensive lineman on this offensive line? Like, that's just, it blows my mind. Blows my mind. Colton wants to come on up. Colton, how you doing, man?
Hey, good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Perfect. I'm driving actually in Cleveland, and believe it or not, it's sunny, but it will not be after Sunday.
Yeah, it's
and
not.
On Sunday.
No.
Because, my goodness, that cloud is looming darker and darker week by week. I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on how long of a leash do you think Dillon Gabriel is going to have? Because I know you need to get Sanders in there at some point to evaluate him. Because there's only a handful of games, obviously, that are going to be left with the remainder of the schedule. And I think we do have the chance to go out and win all games if we get the little things right and executing. But more and more, you start looking at draft boards, just being your typical Cleveland fan in the third week of October. And you're starting to see some of these names emerge, whether it be Mendoza or Sellers, the Simpson kid from Alabama. You're starting to read into these and saying, okay, well, if Sanders isn't on the field, then you got to almost assume that you'd have to take a quarterback. So I just want to see, like, how long you think that leash is going to be for him before they decide to turn it over to Sanders and evaluate him from there on out.
Oh, that is such a good question. It really is. And I've been thinking about that. And first, let me just say, and if you guys are able to comment in the chat, go for it here. I don't trust this Browns regime with quarterback evaluations. I don't. Until they actually show me that they can get the right guy on the field and it actually looks good, I don't have much faith that they're going to get it right. I feel like the leash for Dillon Gabriel, it almost depends on who you ask. I feel like comments from Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the team, have alluded to more of like, yeah, we know we need to get Shedeur on the field and see what he's capable of too. If you look at anything Kevin Stefanski said or done with his allocation of practice reps all the way back to May, I don't think he really wants Shedeur on the field. I think he wants Dillon Gabriel. So if you go from the coaching perspective, I think the leash is a lot longer than we probably want it to be. Because I think they're going to, or at least Kevin's going to try to give Dillon every opportunity to fail. And we've talked about that from the beginning. Like, Dillon's going to get every opportunity to fail before they just pull him and put Shedeur in, unless there's more of a push from ownership or the front office to get Dillon out and get Shedeur in. It's tough for me to see this offense doing anything different than what it's done. And we'll talk, I got all these stats to talk about between the two teams and all this kind of stuff, but the overall Miami's defense is not good. Not good. But I don't think it matters. The Browns went against a not good defense in week 1 and 2. We had the Bengals and then the Ravens. Both those defenses are terrible this year. Didn't matter. We couldn't score. We couldn't do anything. It was the same thing. It didn't matter if it was them or we're going against the Vikings or the Lions. It didn't matter. Like, it was the same offense. No scoring. It's frustrating. So it's hard for me to envision Dylan all of a sudden leading this offense on, these awesome scoring drives or these big downfield plays and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. What do you think?
So I don't want to start a fire in our group chat here, but I did read something this week, and it's going back to what you're talking about with this regime and evaluating and putting in. I keep hearing that the system is so quarterback friendly. Well, I think we've had enough of the sample size now to say it may not be quarterback friendly. Just look at the front runner for the MVP this year at Baker Mayfield. He played arguably some of his worst football of his career. Granted, he was young, but he played some of the worst football of his career while wearing a Cleveland Browns uniform. So the trigger take, and everybody just hold tight. I'm not saying I agree with this, but they were saying, is Kevin Stefanski to blame for Deshaun Watson's failure in Cleveland based upon all the other quarterbacks that have not played exceptionally well while playing under Kevin Stefanski? I know we caught lightning in a bottle with Joe Flacco a couple of years ago, so I don't want Blake to choke down my throat for that. But outside of that, you really don't have any fingers to point to and say, hey, this guy was playing at an average to maybe a Pro Bowl level. And I hold Pro Bowl with really no weight anymore because everybody decides to opt out. So, I mean, you could get an invitation being a second stringer anymore. It really doesn't help hold any merit. But yeah, I thought that was something it was a big trigger take, and thought that some of the people in the chat would have something interesting to say about that.
Well, I've seen that. I've actually seen people pose that question. I've kind of stayed away from that topic myself just because Andrew Jack says Blake Stefanski does love him some Kevin. Okay, yeah. I've kind of stayed away from the whole Deshaun thing because he looked so bad last year, like just so bad. I mean, he would sail passes just 10 yards over guys' heads out of bounds or throw it completely in front of them or, run a play and look like he has no idea what the play was even supposed to be or where guys are supposed to be. There'd be an open guy and he wouldn't see him or he'd go the wrong way. And it's like, man, Deshaun Watson forgot how to play football. But then we saw DTR do the same stuff. Saw Jameis do some of the same stuff. We're seeing Dylan do the same stuff. Joe Flacco looked the same. And it's like, well, hang on a second. If all these guys are doing the same type of things, making the same errors and mistakes in the offense, it's valid. It's valid to question, is Deshaun Watson actually as bad as he looked, or was it in part due to the offensive system and how bad all the quarterbacks have looked? I'm not going to rule it out, actually. I'm not going to sit here and say, no, it's 100% on Deshaun. Well, we might even get a chance to see. Justin's been saying it for months now that at some point this year, Deshaun Watson's going to play football for the Browns. Like Justin's convinced that it's happening. I don't know if it'll happen, but again, can't rule it out. Can't rule it out. You guys in the chat, let us know what you think. What do you guys think? Is Deshaun Watson completely washed? Was he as bad as he looked, or was it a lot to do with, maybe Kevin? We'll get Truth up here too to see what he says. Stacy says, please God, no. Brad, what do you think, buddy?
Can we trade Deshaun Watson yet?
No.
I mean, come on.
We can't.
Cap hit, bro.
No.
Just take the cap hit, bro.
Yeah, I guess
Whatever.
we could take the cap hit. It's not like we can get any worse personnel wise.
Yeah. Then why not? So who's been, because I've been harping on our wide receiver coach pretty hard for the last, 3 years.
Yeah.
But who's been the quarterback coach Like, have we changed the quarterback coach the last few years?
Well, I mean, this year
I don't even remember.
What Bill Musgrave was promoted to quarterback coach or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I
what
think
was he? Was he tight end coach or something?
I don't remember. A lot of the positional coaches I don't keep as close a tabs on. What was Alex Van Pelt? Was he in some way involved with the quarterbacks? I can't remember. Okay, Colton says used to be Van Pelt. Okay, thank you, Colton.
Yeah. So, and like Van Pelt was there for the whole Joe Burrow situation, right?
Joe Flacco?
Yeah. No. Van Pelt was there when we went, because we hired him because he was good at as a quarterback coach for the Bengals.
Oh, see,
I
don't even remember. Okay, I don't remember Van Pelt's history. What I do know is the team has not looked the same since Van Pelt and Bill Callahan left.
Yes, correct. All right, now I remember. Okay, but if that's the case, it's hard. I understand where Colton's coming from, saying like, Joe Flacco was the only one to catch lightning. Now, I could make a case that Jacoby Brissett looked pretty decent when Deshaun Watson was suspended. Now, did Jacoby Brissett have the same problem that Jameis had, that DTR had, that Joe Flacco has, that Dylan Gabriel tries to have, of throwing into coverage and interceptions? Yes. Everybody forgot Jacoby Brissett was good, but he also threw interceptions at very inopportune times. So to his thing, it's like, okay, maybe, possibly, Kevin is not as great of a coach for quarterbacks as we might have thought. Now, to your point, Deshaun Watson is just straight trash. I don't know if he remembers how to play quarterback. And like, I was a little leery about when we were trading for him that he was already away from football for a year. And I said, watch, when we bring him in the first year, he's going to be really rusty. And he was a little rusty. And then that's all the excuse we kept getting every year is, oh, he's still rusty. Well, how much rust do you need to finally be good? And then we were over that excuse after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan is decent. But I'm starting to see, and a lot of people try to put that season out of their mind, but I'm starting to see a lot of Deshaun Kaiser and Dylan Gabriel, where he's thrown into a position where that he needs to perform, and he lacks talent around him. So he tries to make some plays, and he shorts the ball, because even in the 27-6 season, we didn't throw the ball down the field too much. Corey Coleman, rest in peace. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard to say what the real problem is, but I've just seen this offense continually, every minus the 23 year, just continually just be very mediocre at offense.
Yes. Yeah. And, Blake will point to Jacoby Brissett too at times. And I mean, Jacoby played well for us. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't fantastic or anything. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what Kevin did with Jacoby. I mean, I go back and pull up the game logs. I mean, overall, he threw 12 touchdowns in 11 games, 6 interceptions. I mean, okay, whatever, about a touchdown a game. That's more than we're doing now. 147 yards, 229, 220, 234, 230. And then he had like a 266 game. He had a 258, a 278, but then like 212, 210. I don't know. I mean, completions were like 53% one game, 46% one game. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like, it was good enough for what, I mean, he brought here to be the backup, and then the backup had to be the starter for the first 11 games. Okay. For that situation, yeah, he played well. But it's not like, I'm not putting that on my resume. as a QB guru. You know what I mean? For Kevin Stefanski. All right, let's get back to looking at the Dolphins here for this game on Sunday. So Miami, just looking at their record for this year, they got killed in week 1 by the Colts, 33-8. Every week since then, this Miami Dolphins team has been close in every game for the most part, pretty close. They lost to New England 33-27, lost to Buffalo 31-21. That was their biggest margin there. Won against the Jets 27-21, lost to Carolina 27-24, and lost to the Chargers 29-27. So, like I said, a lot of they've scored over 20 in every game except for that first game. So going to the Browns, we have not turned the ball over in the last 2 games. And that's great. Dylan's taking care of the ball, except he's not really. They easily should have or could have had 2 to 5 interceptions last week. I mean, he threw some ball. And the thing is, the Steelers were, I forget where they were ranked, but they had 10 takeaways on the season to that point. They should have easily had a couple more, at least 2 more, but they just dropped all the interceptions. We are still tied for the 4th most turnovers in the league with 8. We're actually tied with the Dolphins, who also have 8. Tua just threw 3 picks last week against the Chargers. So Tua Tagovailoa is a quarterback that you can get interceptions against. Will we? Our defense that's not what they do. They do not force takeaways very consistently. So I don't know, especially in this game. I think there is going to be, Stacey says, I'm so sick of this dink and dunk offense. I think you're going to see a lot of dink and dunk from both teams on Sunday in this weather. Miami's offense, in terms of yards per game, just as bad as the Browns, 289 for them. We average 282. Passing yards per game, rushing yards per game, pretty much exactly the same between the 2 offenses. The difference is Miami averages 22.3 points per game, and we average the league worst 13.7 points per game. Again, they've scored over 20 in all but 1 game, 27 in 3 of their games. So we have established that both of these offenses are not very good. The defenses are where things are different. The Browns are still ranked number 3 overall defense in yards per game allowed at just 262. Miami is also the number 3 defense, but they're number 3 from the bottom. 3rd worst defense in the league, allowing 389 yards per game, almost 400 yards per game allowed by this Miami Dolphins defense. And this is where the weather, this football weather, this home field advantage with the weather, I think it's going to actually screw the Browns, because the Dolphins, again, giving up almost 400 yards of offense, and we're not, first of all, we can't pass in a dome. We're not going to be able to pass in the rain and slosh. So it's going to be, we're going to have that part of our game taken away, which we kind of do it to ourselves anyhow. But if you break it down, they give up 220 a game through the air and 168 rushing. The passing, the 220 passing, that's about middle of the road in the NFL, but the rushing defense, that 168 per game, that's the worst defense in the league, the Miami Dolphins, against the run. So again, what would the natural game plan be for Sunday? Run. Quinshon Judkins, which means we'll probably get 40 to 50 pass attempts from Dylan against the worst rush defense in the rain. Miami averages 29 points per game allowed. The Browns are at 24.3. So what is the moral of my story here? The Browns have no excuse to lose this game at home. None. Every advantage between these 2 teams points toward Cleveland being successful. We're at home. We have the top 3 defense in the league, especially at home. We're much better at home. The rain is going to limit the passing attack for Miami. Again, it doesn't impact us. We suck in a dome. We suck on a nice day, so it doesn't matter. The major weakness for them is stopping the run, and that's where we can actually move the ball. Our only threat on offense is Quinshon Judkins in the run game. So run the freaking ball, Kevin. I put in here, important to note, last year in this same game against Miami at home, in bad weather, the Browns called 48 pass plays with DTR. 48. So just keep that in mind. I know Ken Dorsey was calling the plays last year, but again, it's still Kevin's team, and he's still the one overseeing the offense. And everybody's saying about the 52 pass attempts last week against the Steelers. It was actually 58 because Dylan was sacked 6 times. 58 passes against the Steelers. This episode is sponsored by Southern New Hampshire University. Browns fans, do you ever feel stuck in your current job? Like if you just had a different degree or some more education in a certain area, you could do something you really want to do. Well, Southern New Hampshire University has the answers for you. Head over to snhu.edu/bark to learn how you can get started on your new career today. SNHU is one of the largest online accredited universities in the United States, and it's radically affordable. Their online tuition rates are some of the lowest in the nation. So seriously, what are you waiting for? Head over to snhu.edu/bark to learn how you can get started on your degree for your new career, 100% online and 100% on your time. snhu.edu/bark. This episode is sponsored by ISSA. Browns fans, if you're into health and fitness, have you ever wondered how you could maybe turn those hobbies and your passion into an actual career? If that sounds interesting to you, then ISSA has the opportunity you've been looking for. ISSA is the International Sports Science Association, and they can help you become a certified personal trainer in as little as 3 months. And right now you can get $100 off your certification when you sign up through our link, joinissa.com/dogs, DAWGS. Now, certifications are 100% online, self-study, and self-paced. You can study anywhere from your phone, tablet, or computer. And the final exam is open note, open book, aka piece of cake. Except you fitness nuts probably don't eat a ton of cake, so let's just call it a piece of delicious protein bar. And ISSA has the #1 job guarantee in the industry. If you get certified and sign up to be a certified trainer with ISSA, you have a job guarantee or your money back. ISSA has over 10,000 gym partners that have over 73,000 open jobs for trainers right now. And you don't need a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. You just need your certification to qualify for these jobs. So what are you waiting for? With certification this simple, there's no excuse not to pursue your passion and become a certified personal trainer today. Get $100 off your certification at joinissa.com/dogs. You've wanted to make a change long enough. Now it's time to do something about it. That's joinissa.com/dogs for $100 off your personal trainer certification. Oh, Stacy, I'm sorry. I missed your hand here. If you still want to come up, you can come on up. You're on mute. Okay. Yes, I got you. How you doing?
Good. I just wanted to say that the thing that upsets me is you're rattling off like these numbers and these stats, and we all know Kevin has these exact same stats. He has access to all of the information, but yet come Sunday, I still feel like we're not going to run the ball. Like, I just don't understand. And I think that's the thing that upsets me the most about Kevin and why I would be fine getting rid of him, because he has all the information that we have, and yet somehow he acts like he does the opposite. Like he tries to like trick the other team or something. And it's like, just look at the numbers, look at the stats, and just do that plan. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But at least, like, I don't know. Like, you know, it's just, it just drives me crazy and blows my mind that he has the same stats and yet will sit there and throw the ball probably 50 plus times as well.
Well, for a team that is so analytically driven, they have the same stats we do and a ton more, and they still do the wrong thing all the time. It's like, I that's why I don't mind analytics, but when you use them and you still can't use them correctly, then what are you doing? It doesn't make any freaking sense. And it's a great point you make. And think about Mike Tomlin and the Steelers last week. They had a game plan. On offense, they knew that the Browns can bring pressure at the quarterback. So what did they do? Short, quick passes. Aaron Rodgers did not hold the ball. I forget what his time to throw was, but it was like the lowest on the week, the lowest they had all season. It was get the ball, find your guy, get rid of it. Don't even give the Browns a chance to get to you. And then on defense, what was their game plan? They knew what our weakness was on offense. We got a rookie quarterback starting his second game ever and a terrible offensive line. Shut down the run. Just absolutely sell out to shut down the run. This kid is not going to be able to beat us through the air. And that's exactly what they did. Sometimes it doesn't have to be rocket science. You can just look at another team and say, I see where you suck and I see where I'm good, and I'm just going to beat you there. We don't do that.
He just always wants to trick people. Like, he always wants to do the trick plays. He always wants to do what people don't think that he will do. And I mean, the record shows it doesn't work, Kevin.
No, it doesn't. Andrew Jackson in the chat says 2 offensive head coaches with terrible offenses. Watch this game Watch this be the game the offense looks amazing in this terrible weather. Kevin has one good game a year. We win that we shouldn't. We've already won the game that we shouldn't win this year, and that was the Packers. That was definitely that game. Oh, all right. So let's see. I still got Colton, Stacy. You guys are both still up here on stage. Truth wants to come back up. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before I bring Brad back up here?
Yeah, real quick. Sorry, Stacy, I may cut you off there.
Well, I was just saying I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. I used to think Kevin, and this is just my personal opinion, had the best opening script out of any of the coaches that I've ever seen in terms of offensive play calling. But once you get away from that opening script on Kevin, he has a very, very predictable offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys ever listened to the Orange and Browns talk, but I think Lance Risling, if that's how you pronounce his last name, does a really good job with some film breakdown stuff and showing tendencies. And he's just saying our blocking schemes are so predictable this year. He's not getting into any of the counters or any kind of like outside zone things that are used to. And defenses are just able to key in on that kind of stuff by loading up the line or sending blitzes or whatever it might be. But that creativity is really taking a step back this year, but also in part due to our execution. When you have 12 different offensive line rotations within a matter of 5 or 6 weeks, you can't really get any continuity going on that side of the ball either. So that's just something that I keep saying week in and week out, that we can't execute that kind of stuff. But then we go over to London, they're missing 3 offensive linemen. You watch San Francisco on Thursday Night Football, missing arguably half their offense, and they're still able to execute. So I think the discipline overall as a team is just lacking right now. And if it continues, you're going to really lose the locker room. And they keep saying, hey, we have all these home games in December, and there's a really, really good chance that there's going to be empty stadiums when those games are going on, or you're going to see terrible towels everywhere in Week 17 when Pittsburgh comes to town.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule moving forward is a lot of teams that, honestly, we should beat, playing our brand of defense and everything. If we can just score some points, like we should beat some of these teams coming up. I don't know how it's going to go. The thing with Kevin, and I've talked to people about this, it's like when you see a rookie quarterback come into the league and they do great. Like they have this great rookie season and everything, and they kind of take the league by surprise. Well, that was kind of Kevin's rookie head coach season. It was new. It was his first time. He took the league by surprise. He had kind of some creativity, things that people maybe hadn't really seen all this stuff before, whatever. Well, it's the same thing with the rookie quarterback. Like now the other teams have tape on you and they can learn your tendencies and figure out, oh, well, if they're going to line up like this, or, you know, if he's whatever, they can figure out what you're going to do based on what they see on the tape. And if you don't adjust and if you don't evolve your game and adapt and bring in new things and try new things and learn new things, whatever, and keep people on their toes, you get figured out real quick and then you're done. And that's why you see some of these quarterbacks that come in and they might have a good rookie season and then it just kind of goes downhill and they never really develop or take that next step. They're just not able to adapt, or maybe their coaching staff is not able to help them develop and adapt and change their game. It's the same thing with Kevin. He doesn't adapt his game. It's the same thing for the last 6 years, and that's why it started out okay. But then you see it being less and less and less successful each year because defenses know what we're doing. They've figured it out, and he doesn't adjust. He doesn't change anything. There's nothing new. There's no wrinkles. There's no deception. There's nothing. I keep saying I don't sense like any dog in Kevin and the way he runs a team. Like there's no fight. There's no nasty there. It's just numbers and analytics and got to be better, you know. All right. I'll get Brad up here and Stacy. Colton, I appreciate you coming in here and chatting it up. We'll get Brad, Stacy, talk for a few minutes here, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
To Colton's point about, what did he say about design plays in the beginning of the game scripted?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the word. There's a statistic when we were facing Detroit, that Detroit lets the most touchdowns in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game to scripted plays. Well, what do? Went straight down the field and scored a touchdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we got away from scripted plays, and Detroit's good. They're a good team. But then the rest of the games, we just kind of fell apart, of course. So I see his point. Now for the Miami game, it's going to be a shitstorm bowl or whatever they want to call it. Who's getting fired first bowl, whatever. Now, and I've asked this question a couple times, and some people agree, some people don't agree. Some people say, well, we got to believe what Jimmy Haslam has told us about this regime right now. But my question is, obviously, we've seen in the media, we've seen everything, how dysfunctional the Dolphins are right now with team meetings, players not showing up to meetings, all that stuff. So they're dysfunctional. My question is a team like that comes in here and beats us, what does that say about our organization? Where Blake and a few other people says, well, penalties are down and the team looks disciplined and all that stuff. What does that say about us when we can't beat a team that's so dysfunctional as them? That's all I have to say.
We don't even need to answer it. That speaks volumes about us. And to go to the penalties thing, I was actually looking it up. Pre-snap penalties on a per game basis are down a little bit from last year, but overall penalties on a per game basis are actually slightly higher this year than they were last year. So something to keep an eye on too as we move forward. Stacy, what do you got for us here? We'll just end with whatever you got here.
So I just want to talk real quickly about our defense. I know we've been talking a lot about our offense and the struggles, but I think someone needs to mention that stat that came up on the screen last Sunday with Myles Garrett having 1 tackle. To me, that was super, super upsetting. Your best player on defense has 1 tackle the whole game. It's ridiculous. Obviously, we know the plan this week will be mainly to run the ball, so we might not have a crazy amount of opportunities for sacks. But at the same time, part of being a defensive end is not just solely sacking. Like, you need to show up on all ends and just record more than 1 tackle at some point. So I just would like to see how he does this week, and if anybody has anything about that.
I'm with you. I mean, I think a lot of Browns fans feel the same way. Just like to see some more from Myles. He started out the season very strong, had a couple very dominant performances to open the year, and then I hate it because I feel like I defend the guy a lot more than maybe I should. But he does do the disappearing act where then you'll go a couple weeks where it's like, I forgot he wasn't even on the field. And it doesn't have to be sacks, but break up some passes, knock some stuff down, make some big tackles, make some tackle for loss. Just don't see the impact that you would expect from a guy of his caliber all the time. Unfortunately.
But speaking of sacks too, there's that number out there that he can have the most sacks and whatever the stat is, but it doesn't even seem like he cares about it. It's just, I don't understand. Is now the time where he's just gonna implode? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
This is why I talk all the time about this losing culture. It infects everybody. The defense, are they going to play at a high level all season if this is the offensive output we get every week? No. You're going to see a lot less effort being given on all facets if this is how things continue to go. And, Brad had a good point about the Dolphins and their team-only meetings and all this kind of stuff. They're dysfunctional. That team, that organization is falling apart at the seams. But I think we might be too, even if a lot of people don't want to admit that or, even think about it or whatever. I think it's kind of happening. And I think it could unravel quickly if we lose to Miami. And honestly, if we come out and we struggle against Miami, maybe we end up winning, but we struggle. I don't know. It's going to be hard to tell with the weather. This game's going to be a very interesting one to watch. I mean, their pass rushers, I said this on social media the other day. You got Bradley Chubb, who's got 4 sacks on the year, same as Myles Garrett. Then you've got Jalen Phillips on the other side, both these guys have dealt with injuries in the past, but they're healthy right now. And, I was watching the Thursday night game when the Dolphins were playing the Jets 2 weeks ago. And, we can say, oh, the Jets don't have a good offensive line. Neither do we. And the Dolphins pass rush was insane. I was watching that game thinking, wow, we got to play these guys in a couple weeks. I know they're a bad team, but that pass rush could be a problem, especially if Jack Conklin doesn't play. And if they sell out to shut down the run like Pittsburgh did, we could be in trouble. Those guys are serious. Those guys are very good pass rushers. So we'll see how it goes. I don't expect a pretty game. I think the outcome could go either way. I think it's going to be close. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I appreciate you guys, though, tuning in here, jumping up on stage with me early. I know I had to do this show early today because of nap time here at the household, but we got it done. We're good to go, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. And if you're going up to the game, poncho it up, baby, because it's going to be wet. The 100% chance of rain, strong wind gusts. At least it's not going to be in like the 40s. It's going to be, mid-60s or something like that. I'm sure it'll be cooler or feel a lot cooler on the lake with the wind and the rain and everything. But it could be worse. Justin will be up there. So if you guys run into Justin Charles, make sure you say what's up. And we'll see. Hopefully the Browns could come out of here with a win, or it'd be nice if they could go make a statement. Like, look, it hasn't been great up until now, but we put some stuff together in practice this week, and we're coming out here and we're making a statement. I don't expect it, but it would be nice. So let me know what you guys think. If you're watching this, listening after the fact, drop it in the comments wherever you're watching. Let us know what you think. And it's going to be interesting. Like Brad said, the who gets fired first bowl between Mike McDaniel and Kevin Stefanski. The Dolphins head coach, he's gone at the end of this year. He's either getting fired in the middle of the year somewhere here, or by the end of the year, he'll be the first one gone for sure. I don't think he's coming back in any capacity with that organization next year. But like I said, appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to get out of here. We'll see you guys Sunday night after this Dolphins game when we recap the show, and hopefully talking about the Browns' second win of the season. We'll see. But we'll talk to you guys then. Let's go Browns.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
BetterHelp. Browns fans, if you're like me, the stresses in life only increase the older you get. Your family, your job, your bank account, just a few things that drive the cycle of stress every day. And if you have people constantly depending on you, it can put a heavy weight on your mental health. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? Why does no one appreciate everything I'm trying to do for them? If these thoughts have ever darkened your day, 1, you're not alone, and 2, I highly recommend talking to someone, and that's where BetterHelp could be the right resource for you. Head to BetterHelp, HELP.com/dogs, DAWGS for 10% off your first month of talk therapy. Just fill out a simple questionnaire and BetterHelp will match you with the best therapist for your needs. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists at any time for no extra cost. BetterHelp is 100% online. You can talk with your therapist on the phone, via face chat, or even through text message. Your therapist will listen, ask questions, and help you see things from new perspectives. So what are you waiting for? Take the first step to making positive improvements in your life. Head to BetterHelp.com/dogs now for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/dogs for 10% off your first month.
If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.